Rain hammered the skylight as Maya Rodriguez stepped into Titan Motors, claiming a vision had revealed what 6 certified mechanics couldn't find. The 71 Chevelle in Bay 3 had been dead for 42 days. She said she knew why. They laughed until her fingertips touched cold. Metal. Comment your country below. Tell us where you're watching from. Drop your city in the comments. Watching from where right now? The garage smelled like burnt coffee and broken promises. Maya stood in the doorway, rainwater dripping from her leather jacket onto the oil-stained concrete, watching 4 mechanics huddle around the Chevelle like doctors at a deathbed. None of them noticed her arrival. The fluorescent lights above flickered in rhythm with the storm outside, casting shadows that moved like living things across chrome and steel. She'd driven 3 hours through the downpour to get here, pulled by something she couldn't explain to anyone who valued their sanity. The dream had come to her at 2:47 a.m., vivid and urgent, showing her this exact garage, this exact car, and the secret it had been keeping from everyone who tried to resurrect it. The Chevelle was midnight blue with white racing stripes, sitting low on competition suspension, who'd propped open like a mouth frozen mid-scream. Even silent and dead, it radiated menace. Somewhere in its mechanical heart lay a problem that had stumped the best mechanics in 3 counties. Maya knew she looked insane being here. A 28-year-old parts delivery driver with no formal training, no credentials, just a recurring dream and absolute certainty burning in her chest. She took a breath and stepped forward into the light. "We're closed," the nearest mechanic said without looking up. He was tall and lean, maybe 60, with gray stubble and hands that moved over the engine with the confidence of decades. His name tag read, "Rick, owner. I'm here about the Chevelle." Maya said. Now he looked, they all did. 4 sets of eyes evaluating her, dismissing her in the space between heartbeats. She'd expected this, had prepared for it. But preparation didn't make the weight of their skepticism any lighter. "Join the club," said a younger mechanic with sleeve tattoos and a condescending smirk. "Everyone's got a theory about this car." "You read about it on Facebook or something?" Maya shook her head. "I dreamed it. The fix, I saw exactly what's wrong." The silence that followed was broken only by rain pounding the roof. Then the smirking. Mechanic laughed, a sharp, ugly sound. The others exchanged glances that spoke volumes. "Here we go again, another amateur." Another time, waster. Rick straightened, wiping his hands on a red shop towel. "Look, Miss Maya Rodriguez." "Maya, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but this is a professional shop. We've got diagnostic computers, decades of combined experience, and 42 days invested in this vehicle." 42 days and no progress, Maya countered, surprising herself with her boldness. The dream had given her more than knowledge. It had given her certainty that felt almost reckless. The owner must be losing his mind. Something flickered in Rick's expression. Pain, maybe, or guilt. "David Kowalski is a good friend. This car's been in his family since his father bought it new in '71. He's called me every single day asking if we figured it out." "And you haven't?" "Not a question." "No," Rick admitted, the word heavy with defeat. "We've replaced the ignition system 3 times. New distributor, new coil, new module, new wires, new plugs. We've rebuilt the carburetor, checked fuel pressure, inspected the cam timing, tested compression on all 8 cylinders. We've verified the firing order, checked for vacuum leaks, tested the fuel pump, cleaned the tank, replaced filters." The tattooed mechanic jumped in. "We've checked grounds, voltage drops, examined every fuse and relay. We've pulled codes, nothing. This thing cranks strong, has good compression, has spark, has fuel, has air. By every metric it should fire." "Right up," something flickered in Thornhill's expression. "Annoyance, maybe? Or the kind of frustration that comes from problems money can't solve." Maya said the car just kept cranking like it was missing something essential, and Rick agreed, admitting they were chasing a problem they couldn't see. Drawn by the same pull from her dreams, she approached the Chevelle slowly while the mechanics watched her with guarded skepticism. She described her dream of standing in this exact garage, pointing out details like the old coffee maker, And although one mechanic dismissed it as coincidence, Rick asked what else she saw. Maya closed her eyes and said the answer wasn't on top of the engine, but underneath, passenger side near the firewall. She insisted there were old cloth-insulated wires hidden behind a bracket, nearly invisible unless you knew the angle. Jerome argued they had inspected underneath many times, but Maya calmly said not everything had been seen. She explained the wires were factory ground straps, over 50 years old, corroded enough to pass basic tests but fail under real load. The room went quiet as the possibility settled over them. Rick grabbed a flashlight and creeper, ordering the Chevelle onto the lift immediately as the garage burst into motion. Maya stepped back, hands trembling, wondering if she was wrong but feeling deep certainty she wasn't. As the car lifted, Rick called for directions, and Maya guided him to an L-shaped bracket on the firewall, exactly like in her dream. Tools clanked in the silence before Rick's shocked voice broke through. Maya asked if they found them, and Rick slid out holding his phone, showing a photo of 2 corroded, cloth-wrapped wires hidden exactly where she described. He admitted in 52 years he'd never seen undocumented grounds like that. Jerome and Tyler emerged stunned, asking how she could know about wires not on any diagram, and Maya could only repeat that she had dreamed it 3 nights in a row. Even Jerome's disbelief lacked conviction now. Rick sprang into action, ordering tools and marine-grade wire while inviting Maya to help since she had found the fault. She joined him under the car as the team worked with renewed energy, the long frustration finally lifting. Up close, the wires were worse than imagined, copper barely intact, making it a miracle the car ran at all. Maya handed tools as Rick carefully removed the bracket, exposing the full damage. Rick said the grounds likely failed gradually, creating intermittent problems until total failure, and clipped away the ruined wires. He cleaned the contact points to bright metal while Maya absorbed every step, dream turning into hands-on learning. New wires were cut, crimped with fresh terminals, and bolted in with star washers for solid contact. 20 minutes later, the team stood around the Chevelle with perfect continuity readings and no resistance. Rick slid into the driver's seat and turned the key to on, checking gauges as Maya's heart pounded with doubt and hope. He turned it to start, and the engine roared to life, 8 cylinders firing in powerful harmony. The sound filled the bay, triumphant and alive, and tears sprang to Maya's eyes as the impossible knowledge proved real. The car idled strong and steady, healed. Rick listened like a master, revving gently and confirming everything sounded perfect before shutting it down with emotion in his voice. He spoke of 42 days of frustration ended by Maya's 20-minute diagnosis. Tyler grinned in disbelief while Jerome offered a heartfelt apology, and they shook hands in shared respect. Rick then asked if she'd ever had dreams like this before. Maya admitted this was the first time, and she didn't understand it. And Rick suggested maybe help comes without explanation when it's needed most. He explained the Chevelle's deep meaning to its owner David, tied to his late father and life milestones. The car's failure after his father's death had felt like losing him again, and Rick said they had failed David until Maya arrived. The weight of memory and love, wrapped in steel, became clear to her. Rick called David to share the news while Tyler and Jerome questioned Maya gently about her background. She said her grandfather taught basics, but she'd never worked on a Chevelle or known this car existed before the dreams. She described how real the dream felt, down to smells and sounds, and how she woke knowing she had to come. Jerome simply nodded, accepting that some things in life and machines remain mysteries. Rick came back from his office glowing, saying David was on his way with his kids to hear the car run. They spent the wait testing the Chevelle, Rick reporting flawless performance after a drive, while Maya and Tyler cleaned up the ruined wires now looking too small to have caused so much trouble. When David arrived with his teenage twins, his face carried cautious hope shaped by too many disappointments. Rick told him simply that it was running. David approached the Chevelle with reverence, touching the hood like it might vanish, and Rick introduced Maya as the one who found the hidden grounds. When told she dreamed it, David didn't laugh. He said his father believed in things like that. He thanked her deeply, and when his daughter asked to hear it start, Rick handed over the keys. David sat behind the wheel, eyes closed for a moment like he was speaking to someone unseen, then turned the key. The engine roared, The twins jumped and grinned, and David cried openly, laughing through it. Afterward he hugged Rick, both men weeping, while the others gave them space. David's son shyly told Maya what she did was amazing and mentioned his grandpa believed loved ones visited in dreams. That idea hit Maya hard. She'd focused on mechanics, not the source. When she said a silent older man had pointed out the wires in her dream, David showed her a photo. It was the same man. His father, Thomas Kowalski. Maya nearly collapsed, Tyler steadying her, the garage gone quiet except for cooling metal and light rain. David said his father had been with her, helping his son one last time. Rick added that Tom had been a master mechanic and the kind of man who would find a way to help from beyond. Maya asked why she'd been chosen, and David asked her grandfather's name. Thomas, she said, realizing the strange echo. David's daughter suggested maybe people who love cars stick together, even after death, a simple idea that somehow felt enough. When David asked about payment, Rick refused, saying this one was on the house for his old friend. Maya also declined money, saying she just needed to answer the dream. David handed her a business card instead, offering her a job at his restoration shop, serious about her diagnostic intuition. After the family left, the garage felt heavier, changed. Rick asked if she'd call, and Maya admitted she was scared it might have been a one-time miracle. Jerome said delivering one miracle was already more than enough. And Tyler showed her the shop's stellar reputation, saying David clearly saw something in her. Maya said it wasn't a guess but a message, a ghost fixing his own car through her, and Rick called that even better. She took the job. In the months after, she diagnosed multiple unfixable cars, not through dreams but through sharpened instinct and confidence. The Chevelle sat in the showroom as a symbol of the day impossible knowledge walked in. She never had another vision, but she didn't need to. She'd been given purpose and proof that sometimes the right person lands in the right place at the exact moment they needed. She kept the business card anyway, and on quiet nights in the shop she'd whisper thanks to the two men named Thomas, who taught her to trust herself. The Chevelle had been silent for 42 days, Maya's potential for 28 years, and both came back to life under the same lights, neither ever quiet again.